Hi, good morning. My name is James Balot, and this morning I'm going to be talking to you about my Unit 4 project, Getting to Know Pilots, or Payments in Lieu of Taxes. This is part of my PA 6304 local government planning course with Waldorf University. My instructor, Dr. Leanna Murdoch, and today is October 1st, 2022. Okay, without further delay, let's go ahead and dive right in. Some of the questions we're going to answer throughout this presentation is, what is a PILT or a pilot? Why are PILTs or pilots relevant to our government? And what are the benefits and who gains from their use? Are there downsides? And if so, who do they affect? What are federal government roles, if any? And local governments and their participation? What is it all about when it comes to local municipalities? Okay, pilots, what are they? Well, pilots are payments in lieu of taxes and can sometimes be abbreviated as PILTs. For instance, the federal government likes to refer to these pilots as PILTs. They can be payments to government agencies to supplement losses in revenue on properties and tax. This can be federal land, these can be charitable organizations, they can be other types of entities, and we'll talk more about that as we progress. This form of revenue retrieval can be related to federal and local levels. And PILTs or pilots in some cases can be extremely important to localities and their budgets, especially the smaller ones who are tighter with their budgets. And we'll talk more about that later. All right, first, let's talk about some benefits of pilots. Well, from a government vantage point, tax exemptions can affect local governments and their budgets. Local government may implement pilots and place these tax collections in order to make up for shortfalls in their revenue. It allows for lump sum annual payments by tax exempt entities. And a large example of this may be the city of Boston, who collects the most throughout a pilot program. And a lot of this is due to their large amounts of healthcare facilities within their jurisdiction. And although they provide an essential service, they may also have a significant impact on city services. All right, who pays? Well, otherwise tax exempt entities, charitable organizations covered under 501c3. These entities also may be entitled to other tax deductions. The federal government, in some cases, we'll talk more about that later, and there are other exempt entities from local taxes. All right, what are some of the negatives? Well, payments might be a financial burden to some organizations. For instance, the smaller charitable organizations who do not have financial means of paying and may not have a significant impact on local municipal services. It may also deter money that could be otherwise used by some of these charitable interests to be put toward their main goal of helping the community. For local government, it may also not make up for all the lost tax revenue in place of normal taxation processes. And of course, you have the optics of collecting money from certain organizations, especially the smaller ones that provide a very popular service to a community, but don't necessarily have a means of paying these pilots. All right, are pilots mandatory? Well, first, no, they are not. They're totally voluntary requests. In fact, if pilots were mandated by certain municipalities, they may be considered illegal or another form of taxation. Sometimes they may appear obligatory when payment statements or bills are sent out, and some municipalities, the way they write them, may give the appearance that they need to be paid when in fact they do not, and there are no implications of not paying these pilot requests. That again, totally voluntary processes. All right, why does local government consider pilots? Well, some, especially the smaller organizations, may have budgetary shortfalls, and they may have a large amount of charitable organizations or tax exempt properties within their municipality, and therefore have no choice but to either implement a pilot program or pass this taxation on to small groups of residents. These organizations may also have impacts on essential services throughout the municipality, such as police, fire, EMS, and other ones. And it also may be viewed as a more equitable distribution of a cost burden. Again, in smaller communities, this may be more of a factor. Okay, not everybody supports pilots. Depending on what side of the fence you are, you may be affected differently by this. Some may consider the use of pilots as a way to circumvent the law, and other organizations may have difficulty meeting their financial needs, and therefore it can be a negative effect on them. Opinions include government being greedy or finding alternative ways to pad local government budgets, according to the National Council on Nonprofits, who support nonprofits and look at it from their vantage point. All right, PILTs and pilots in the federal government. All right, PILTs and pilots can apply to the federal government due to large amounts of land within a municipality, such as national parks and other federal agencies may have large amounts of property within these municipalities and lead the municipality to provide service, but unable to enhance their taxation by these large chunks of land that cannot be built on or taxed. It can be found in the United States Code, which was written in 1976 and later updated in 1982. And these are all the responsibility of the Department of Interior. All right, some of my thoughts and experience. Well, pilots have their place in certain circumstances. You know, for instance, especially organizations that have the ability to pay and do have a significant impact on municipal services. One example in the municipality I live in is we have a fairly large hospital that's on county or municipal property and therefore tax exempt, but do have a significant impact on county services. So therefore they are requested to pay through a pilot program, which has been successful in my area. Justification for the fee must be valid. Of course, is the money being utilized for good reason? Explain where these costs go. Transparency is absolutely essential. Partnership approach can be extremely successful if approached from the right angle. But just remember, not all entities should be targeted. Again, especially these smaller entities that don't have that ability to pay. Some further considerations to talk about is, will pilots help the jurisdiction? Is implementing these fees valid? Are they going towards something important? Are you equitable with your requests? For instance, similar agencies, are they all being asked to do the same thing? And as a local government, do you have a plan? Have you consulted legal early to make sure that you are avoiding pitfalls in your approach and making the process smooth? All right, my summary includes pilots are fees which entities are tax exempt. Pilots do have their place in certain circumstances, but not all charities have a financial needs, and that needs to be in the back of your mind during this approach. Not everyone agrees with the use of pilots. Being very empathetic with your approach to this process is extremely important. Look at it from all vantage points, and remember, they are voluntary. Here are some of my references that I utilize for this process. I hope you enjoyed this presentation and have a fantastic day.